this session, dear learners and listeners, let us look into the Gandhi's views on labour. I am Dr. G. Uma, working as an assistant professor in the School of Gender and Development Studies, Indira Gandhi National Open University. In this session, we will discuss about Gandhi's views on labour. Gandhi's views on labour evolved based on following economic ideals. One is the moral development of human beings, how the human beings became moral human being, and real economic progress. Based on these ideals, he has evolved his economic thoughts. First one is the moral development of human beings, real economic progress, provision of basic needs for life and existence, economic self-sufficiency and the guarantee of economic freedom, justice and equality. Based on these things, Gandhi has evolved his own economic ideals. His ideals, apart from that, Gandhi's economic ideals were deep rooted in trusteeship theory. Gandhi's view about labour are presented under the following headings in these presentations. Like when we talk about the Gandhi's ideas on labour, we need to talk about bread labour, industrial relations, conflict between labour and capital, dignity of labour, employer-employee relationship, trade unions, rights and duties of labour, strikes, conflict resolution, wage and profit, working conditions, working hours, child labour, women labour, etc. All these topics Gandhi has expressed his views on labour, and he also his theory, labour theory, has deep rooted in trusteeship theory. We have explained the trusteeship theory earlier also. Again we will explain the trusteeship theory in this session too. First, before we get into the Gandhi's ideas on labour, I have designed this particular session based on these following objectives. First one is that after listening this lecture as well as reading the material attached to this lecture, you will be able to describe the economic ideals of Mahatma Gandhi, and you will be able to understand the basic tenets of trusteeship theory. And as a listener, after listening this lecture, you would be able to explain Gandhi's views on different dimensions of labour, and you will be able to understand the Gandhian views on conflict between labour and capital and measures to resolve the conflict. And finally, after listening this lecture and reading the material attached to this lecture, you would be able to examine the relevance of Gandhi's views on labour in the 21st century. Let us start with economic ideals of Gandhi. Basically, Gandhi's, apart from trusteeship, Gandhi developed his economic ideals based on truth, non-violence and Sarvodaya. That is the truth, non-violence and Sarvodaya based maximization of social welfare that invariably includes individual welfare is the guiding principle of all social action and policy in Gandhi's stream of thought. As far as Gandhi is concerned, welfare includes both material as well as spiritual. Apart from that, full employment, economic equality and Swadeshi constitute three major objectives of Gandhi's economic system. Therefore, he advocated reduction in economic inequalities. For Gandhi, wealth doesn't mean welfare. Like if somebody is having a lots of wealth, according to Gandhi, doesn't mean that their well-being is ensured. Gandhi's economics of basic human needs include food, clothing and shelter. That is very basic minimum rights of the human beings. So, basic needs include food, clothing and shelter. He was against the concentration and acquisition of wealth beyond the point. So, according to Gandhi, one person should acquire a wealth to fulfill their basic needs and to ensure the, for example, if the family persons, they should ensure the welfare of their children, They should lead a life that ensure their welfare, food, clothing and shelter. So beyond that, one should not acquire wealth beyond this point. According to him, it was necessary to voluntarily reduce wants, particularly when majority of the people are living below poverty line. See, according to Gandhi, you must see this. Like someone must have acquired the wealth, or somebody must have got the wealth through the transfer of property. But according to him, it is very important for the individual, even though if the individual is earning beyond certain point and they are acquiring wealth so much and they could be able to possess the wealth, but according to him, individuals, they should voluntarily reduce their wants. Like they should live in a life with the minimum wealth. Not only that, with the minimum things in their life. Like they should reduce their wants, particularly when majority of the people, if you look at in India, currently the poverty is around 25 to 30% of the people, they are living below poverty line. So looking at these issues, Gandhi wants individual to reduce their wants by looking at the majority of the people living in a below poverty line. So Gandhian economics is highly interlinked with ethics. It's all individual consciousness. The one should, according to Gandhi, one individual should be very conscious about acquiring wealth, even if he or she could able to acquire a wealth, but he should not enjoy that wealth. One must reduce their wants consciously, and one must live with the minimum needs. That is very important according to Gandhi. So it is more highly interrelated with the individual ethics. According to Ghosh, quote, economics that hurts the moral well-being of an individual or a nation is immoral and therefore sinful. True economics never militates against the highest ethical standard, just as all true ethics to be worth its name must at the same time be also good economics, unquote. I will repeat, this quote was given by Ghosh in the year 2017. Quote, Gandhi, economics that hurts the moral well-being of an individual or a nation is immoral and therefore sinful. True economics never militates against the highest ethical standard, just as all true ethics to be worth its name must at the same time be also good economics, unquote. This was given by Ghosh in the year 2017. Gandhi advocated decentralized and market negotiated economic system wherein economic decisions are taken by individuals. Under such system, private property exists and production is owned by either private firms or by cooperatives of workers and farmers. So he is more related to the decentralized form of production, and the decisions with regard to economics should be taken by the individual. Under his proposed system, there will be the private property that exists, but the production is owned by either private firms or by cooperatives of workers and farmers. In Gandhi's view, true economics cannot ignore moral values. The basic purpose of his meta-economics was to achieve economic self-sufficiency by restricting meta-needs. His idea was to save the labor force from being dehumanized by the onslaught of industrial civilization of his time. First, let us start with what is trusteeship theory proposed by Gandhi. This trusteeship theory is deep rooted in the first verse of Isho Upanishad and is the guiding principle in the Gandhian scheme of thought to resolve the labor problems. The theory envisages that rich should hold all their property in trust for their poor and expand it for their benefit. Similarly, each laborer should consider himself to be trustee of welfare of his fellow laborers. It's like guiding principle. Trusteeship theory is the guiding principle. Actually, according to this principle, rich can hold all their property in trust for poor and expand it to their benefit. So, they can earn, but whatever they are earning, rich people, they should keep their earnings in a trust, and they should spend that earnings for the welfare or for the benefit of the poor in the country. Similarly, each laborer should consider himself to be a trustee for the welfare of his fellow laborers. I will start with quote. In a Harijan, Gandhi mentioned that, quote, "May you propitiate the gods and may the gods propitiate you, and may you reach the highest good by this mutual propitiation," unquote. There is no separate species called gods according to Gandhi in the universe, but all who have power of production and will work for the community using the power are God's laborers, no less than the capitalist, unquote. This was written in the Harijan in the year 1938. To Gandhi, truth and non-violence have their basic means to address labor problems. Hope you understood the concept of trusteeship. Next, we will talk about the bread labor. According to Gandhiji, labor has 4 components: bread labor, intellectual labor, labor as an instrument for self-actualization, labor as a method of service to others. The term bread labor is coined by T.M. Bondarev, a Russian writer, and widely published by Tolstoy, was well accepted by Gandhi. He stipulates that, quote, "A man must earn his bread by laboring with his own hands," unquote. According to Gandhi, the basic principle of bread labor is that identical to the principle of sacrifice contained in the 3rd chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, that says, "He who eats without offering sacrifice eats stolen food. A man does not have a right to eat without doing any physical labor." According to Gandhi, bread labor is nothing but one should do certain physical activities for their own bread. Next is, we will let us see the dignity of labor, labor rights and duties. Gandhi had high respect for the dignity of labor and firmly believed that laboring with one's body, that is with hands and bodies, is the law of one's being, and there was no reason why one should hesitate and feel dissatisfied with one's labor. A nation may do without millionaires and without its capitalists, but never do without its labor. Next is, we will look into the Gandhi's view on industrial relations. According to him, the relationship between the worker on the one hand and his or her employer on the other constitutes the industrial relations. How the management treats its workers and how workers work in the interest of their employees is the essence of industrial relations. The trade unions and employers and employees associations are the principal parties in industrial relations. So, it is like when he talk about the industrial relations, Gandhi is more about he is giving the idea about the both employer and employees. The relationship between the worker on the one hand and his employer on the other hand constitutes the industrial relations. So, according to him, the management must treat the workers, and in turn how workers also in the interest of the employers they must perform. So, it is the duty of the both workers and employers. Next one is the why the conflict between labor and capital emerge. Basically, conflict can be broadly be divided into 4 categories: economic, political, social and methodological. So, there is a conflict between rich and poor, between labor and capital, between highly developed and backward regions, and between rural and urban areas are economic in nature. If there is, according to Gandhi, there is a conflict between the labor and capital, means basically it is in economic in nature. Gandhi recognized the conflict between the working class and the capitalist. He witnessed the exploitative nature of capitalist method of production. in terms of dehumanized working conditions, alienation of workers, unfairly low wages and high incidence of unemployment caused by use of labor saving machinery. Conflict between labor and capital arises due to two reasons. One is dependency with unequal power relations and goal incompatibility. Dependency and unequal power in the sense that the workers have to sell their labor power to earn subsistence and reproduce their labor power, which is perishable commodity. According to Ghosh, conflict between the labor and capital is economic in nature. Like basically there is a conflict because of the unequal power relations and the dependency. These are the two reasons. Workers have sell their labor to earn subsistence at the same time and they reproduce their labor, which is perishable commodity. This was like analyze the Gandhi's view by the Ghosh, and it was mentioned in 2007 by the Ghosh. Next one is we need to look into the employer and employee relationship. Gandhi advocated harmonious relationship between employer and employees with strong support to fair and just treatment to the workers. He vehemently argued for payment of fair wages to the laborers and went to the extent that, quote, a labor should prefer state of utter starvation rather than to work at insufficient wage making. It is impossible to observe primary laws of morality, unquote. So, even according to Gandhi, labor should prefer state of utter starvation rather than working in an insufficient wage. So, there should be a fair and just treatment for to the workers. That is what Gandhi is very particular about. The employee should provide the fair and just treatment to these workers, and they should provide the fair wage to the laborers. And he said that even laborers can go to starvation instead of working for insufficient wage. That much Gandhi is very concerned about the welfare of the employers. And he was talking about the employer and employee relationship. Trade unions. Next, let us see the trade unions. He favored the formation of trade unions in different places. The activities of trade unions should be based on non-violence, truth and arbitration. Trade unions are expected to safeguard the rights and interests of their members. They should arrange for the education, both general and scientific, for both men and women through night schools. Hospital, crèche facility, maternity home should be attached to every center, and education for the children of labor need to be arranged. They should be able to support themselves during their strikes. So, he expanded the idea of trade unions, and according to him, trade unions must safeguard the rights and interests of their members, and their interests should expand beyond their members to their families, like trade union members and the members' children. The trade union should take care of the members' children by arranging a good school, and even some laborers, if they are not educated, trade unions must arrange the night school for their own laborers, and they should arrange the hospital, crèche facility, maternity home. So, the trade union should take care of the entire welfare of their own members. Next one is the workers' strike. Strike, in Gandhi's opinion, are an inherent right of the workers for the purpose of securing justice. However, the moment the employers accept the principle of arbitration, restoring to strike must be considered as a crime. For successful strike, there must be a perfect correspondence between the labor leader and the advisor of the labor leader. If the perfect correspondence lacks, the strike is bound to fail. Like that, about the conflict resolution, the root cause of conflict between labor and management, according to Gandhi, lies in misconception and ignorance about each other's duties and obligations. The moment the management realizes its true function and labor its inherent strength, the struggle ends and resolution and relation become very cordial. So, next is wage and profit. let us see what is Gandhi's view on wage and profit. Gandhi was a view that enough wage should be paid to the workers. Enough wages, according to him, referred to the wage level that enables them to maintain themselves, to educate their children decently. So, everyone should provide the proper wages to the workers. Next is working hours. Here also Gandhi wants to reduce the working hours from 12 to 10. He was the view that reduction of working hours from 12 to 10 will put laborers in better health and it will not reduce the total output. Next is Gandhi talked about the working condition of the labor. A satisfactory solution of the condition of labor must include the following. He said, the hours of labor must leave the workmen some hours of leisure. So, they should get some hours of leisure. They must get facility for their own education. Provision should be made for an adequate supply of milk, clothing and necessary education for their children. There should be sanitary dwellings for the workmen. They should be in a position to save enough to maintain themselves during their old age. Next one is child and women labor. Gandhi was against the child labor. The children up to age of 16 years, according to him, must be in the schools and they should not be engaged in earning wages like child labor. Gandhi expressed his view on women labor. Gandhi preferred women to be good householders and devote their time in looking after the family and children in a better manner. And we have seen Gandhi's views on various topics with related to labor. Let us see whether these Gandhi's ideas are relevant in the 21st century or not. First one is the trusteeship. The proposition of trusteeship theory as a way to solve most of the labor problems is based on the belief in essential goodness of human nature, whereas in practice we observe selfishness in human nature. Under such circumstances, it becomes difficult to put many of the Gandhi's ideas into practice. In the changed context of 21st century, challenges that Gandhi view about cooperation between employers and employees have become highly relevant. Gandhi's advice to control the excessive consumption and minimizing the wants is the need of the hour and highly relevant. Gandhi's views on wages and strike have been well endorsed by different organizations and are and will be relevant to the 21st century. These are the Gandhi's views on labor. Now let us see the references from where this unit is developed. First, I have already mentioned about the B. N. Ghosh. That title of the book is Gandhian Political Economy. Next one is Ashgate Publishers. It is published in 2007. Next one is Hingo Rani Anand T. This is the edited volume. Next one is Gandhi M.K. Bread Labor, The Gospel of Work, compiled by Ravindra Kelkar, Navajivan Publishing House, Ahmedabad in 1960. Sriman Narayanan, Relevance of Gandhi's Economics, Navajivan Publishing House, Ahmedabad in 1970. Diwan Ramesh and Mark Lutz, they have edited the edited volume. The title of the edited volume is Essays in Gandhi's Economics, Gandhi Peace Foundation, New Delhi. It was published in 1985. Hope you understood the Gandhi's ideas on labor and along with the how the Gandhi viewed in child labor and women labor, working condition, working hours, wage and profit, conflict resolution, worker strike and struggle, trade unions, employer-employee relationship and trusteeship and conflict between labor and capital. Hope this will clearly give you the picture about the Gandhi's ideas on labor. Thank you so much for listening this lecture and hope we will meet again in some other topic. Thank you so much.